My fellow viewers. I hope everybody's having a good day today. Um, Today is Tuesday, so you know what that means. That means it's chapter 3 of my book. Um, it's called Journey to Freedom. So before I start off reading it, I just want to say that today's broadcast is dedicated to my daughter because we were talking about. Um, the difference between right and wrong and standing up for what you believe is right. Um, the thing is that uh, in everybody's eyes, uh, right and wrong is different, and standing up for what you believe in is different for everybody also. But um, usually, usually your convictions and your conscience and your heart would tell you exactly what is right. So, um, hold on, it's my daughter. What are you now? So, without further ado, here is chapter 3 of Journey to Freedom. Um, I hope that my daughter is watching this broadcast. I don't think she's told her roommates that I broadcast on here, which I don't even think that they would probably watch anyway. I don't think this would be their slice of tea. Slice of tea, I mean, cup of tea. But anyway, as always, each each chapter is started off with a quote, and every quote has to do with what it's relating to in the chapter. So, chapter 3, uh, here we go with the quote. The reason birds can fly and we can't is simply that they have perfect faith. For to have faith is to have wings. Sir James Matthew Barrie. As I sit here meditating, I recall the training that I received from the Special Forces. I remember volunteering for a program called Ghost Eyes. In this program, every volunteer was injected with a serum, and this serum was to help soldiers do what is called remote viewing. They told us that the serum would help us see things that were miles away and whatnot. But the more I was in the program, the more I learned that remote viewing is where one separates their soul from their body and moves freely around in our plane of existence. Most people don't believe in the paranormal, and neither did I until I volunteered for Ghost Eyes. I practice remote viewing every now and then, but this time it seemed necessary to make sure that for my people that are looking for me. Good thing that every single time I practice, I was able to accomplish something more, and it was a new technique that I taught myself, and I call it bilocation. It's when one sends a part of the person to a location, and you can actually talk to people and see what they're doing or where they are. I remember doing this to my daughters during my trip to the Shattered Union. My girls would think that they were dreaming, but it helps to keep their spirits alive and letting them think that I was still alive. I relax and stay completely still until I feel like I'm floating. I walk through the cell door and see what I'm up against. I see a few soldiers walking the hallway, and it seems like there are no more than 20 doors. I'm assuming these are also prisoners. I continue through the hallway and see that they have my weapons. They play with my knife and my gun. Fools. If they if they if they would be more careless, they would get the surprise of a lifetime. Those are no ordinary guns. But in times like these, I think those are the most advanced weapons that I know. I walk back into my cell, run out of the building, and run south until I finally see someone walking in the trees. It's my little brother Joshua. I see that he is probably looking for the camp where I'm locked up in. I wonder how he found me. Well, it doesn't matter now. What matters is that he found me. I hope he doesn't try to save me all by himself. There's way too many soldiers for him to try to take on by himself. No, I see that he's just doing some reconnaissance. He's brought a few guys with him. I walk up to him and I whisper, Josh, it's me. He starts asking me how I escaped and that everyone was worried about me and tells me that my guns had a mini GPS inside of it and that's how they were able to track me down to this location. I asked how they got the GPS satellite to work after the EMP destroyed everything. He tells me about Mexico's internet is still up and running, and ever since the grid has been down, it was much easier to hack into the American satellites because the security system is down. I tell him to follow me so that he can get me out of there because I don't think how much longer I can hold on. I move to try to get up, and it hurts everywhere. I finally stand up and go to the window and whistle. My brother whistles back and points his laser at me, and I find something to reflect it back at him. I find a piece of broken mirror. I find a piece of broken mirror and reflect it back at him. He turns off the laser, starts cutting through the fence, and walks up towards the cell's window. I tell him that I'm hurt bad and that we need to get out of here fast because they're getting relentless about information getting out of me. My brother asks me if I'm hurt. I just say nothing that a few band-aids and a lot of sleep can't fix. He tells me that he's going to tell the team to get ready for the extraction, and I stop and I tell him inside there are at least from 20 to 30 soldiers, but only four patrolling the halls. They have high-end weapons, two towers, and the towers hold snipers. There are also two turret machines at the opposite side of the building, and these bars are made of steel. So I hope you brought the shark's teeth. He replies, yes, I brought it, and I see where you're going with this. I'll signal the team, we'll get you out in a few minutes. As I sit down and wait for my brother to start, remember, as I sit down and wait for my brother, I start to remember when all the summers when I used to go to Mexico and visit my grandmother when she was still alive. By this time I was 12, and my sisters were 7, and we had another addition to the family, my baby sister, which was about 2, 3 years old. I really can't remember that much about my grandmother at the moment, but I remember her making flour tortillas when I was little. I remember her taking me to a Christian camp, but we would stay there with about 100 other people the whole week. I went with her every summer for 9 years until the last summer when I went to go visit her. I remember my mother getting a phone call from one of my aunts and telling my mother and my grandmother had just passed away. I still couldn't believe it because I was just with her a week ago. My mother packed up our things and told my dad that her mother had died, and my dad only replied, I'm sorry, you go because I have to go to work. My mother and sisters and I left to Mexico to my grandmother's funeral. It was completely full. My mom's entire family was there. My grandma and my grandpa's family side went to the funeral. My family had a whole history of church ministers and witches. These are the only things that I remember that we had. But the ones that practiced witchcraft were always so secretive and it was hard to tell who did it. It didn't matter to me because I loved all of my family. So I walk into church and I see my grandmother lying in her coffin, dressed in white. She looked like she was just sleeping, but I still couldn't believe that she was dead. I reached out and almost touched her until it told me that it was disrespectful to touch a dead person. I replied, this is my grandmother, and I will touch her if I feel like it. I wanted to touch her, but something told me that it wasn't the right time. I'm interrupted of my memory as I hear my brother telling his group to keep an eye out while he saws through the bars. I sit and remember where I left off with my grandmother. I remember my mother fainting like about 100 times. Everyone cried. But for some reason, I didn't cry at her funeral. I could only sit there in disbelief, thinking to myself, how was it possible for her to die when I was just with her a few days ago? That very same day, when everyone went to sleep, I went to the church and saw that it was a perfect time for me to talk to my grandmother. I walked up to her casket and I spoke to her. Grandma, why did you have to die? Why couldn't you do it while I was still there? At least that way I could have said goodbye. It's not fair for you to leave me so soon. Please come back. I can see my vision get blurry from the tears, but I hold them in and they go away. I reach out and touch her hand and it feels warm. I hold her hand in mine and say, well, Grandma, since I did say goodbye about a week ago, I guess I'll say goodbye again since you aren't coming back. You're so selfish. You left me here all alone and you didn't even bother to think about me because I know that my life will get harder and worse now that you're gone. Then at that instant, I feel a hand on my shoulder. I wasn't even sure if I was imagining it or if it was true, but I saw my grandmother and I hugged her. And I said, Grandma, you aren't dead. No, she replied. I'm not here anymore, my child. But you need to understand that even though I'm not here with you, that doesn't mean that I'm not watching over you. Please be a good boy because I have seen your future and trust me, you will be one of those few people that changes history. Not for the worse, but for the better. And I just see her fading. And then I just see my mom at the entrance of the church and she looks at me with a smile and tears in her eyes. My child, your grandma passed away because she is needed in heaven. You see, when God calls upon her angels, He takes them, especially the ones that are needed the most, and makes sure that they are up there to protect us and guide us. I stepped back and looked down, and then slowly looked up to my mom and said, so God took my grandma from me? I asked. Yes, she replies. Then I will forever hate God for taking the most important person in my life. I yell at her. I am instantly caught off guard from some rubble falling on my head. I scratch my head and see that there's dirt falling on my head from my brother's sawing through the bars and concrete. Josh calls to me and tells me that they're ready for me to get out. I climb with all my might since I barely have any energy left for anything. He pulls me out and his squad asks me if I need help. I just say I only need to recover because I think my ribs are broken. My brother tells his squad to take me to the woods and keep me company while he goes in with another member to try to retrieve my weapons. Sure, he could have left them since they're just two 45s and a knife. But these aren't just any weapons. They are very special to me and were very modified for a very special reason. I see my brother and another member of the squad go into my cell. I hear grunts and noises, and after a few minutes they come running to where I was. We need to leave ASAP because sooner or later the other soldiers are going to wonder why there's radio silence if they decide to call them. He whispers to me, you're right. We need we need an automobile to get a lot of distance between us, I replied. I know exactly what you mean. We have the battery powered motorcycles that were made by Jasmine, he tells me. I reply, great. They are completely silent and it will be easy for us since we need a silent extraction. We get on the motorcycles and we drive off back to our own camp. As we drive off, I remember the woman that was screaming when I was there, and I hope that she's still okay. I promise that I will come back for her when I recover. So that's chapter 3. Uh, chapter 3 of my book, it tends to do mostly with my grandmother because to me back then, when I used to believe in religion and Christianity, my grandmother was the most perfect Christian that was out there. Love thy neighbor and whatnot. She did it all. She never let anybody bother her. And never let anybody get to her. She to me she was the most perfect Christian woman. But yeah, she when she passed away, uh, I hated God, and to this day I still do. So I'm not too worried about all that. Um, uh, but when it comes to the difference between right and wrong, like I said, I think I think my oldest daughter is a replica of me because she stands for her morals, and she will always uh, let her convictions lead her, and her conscience and her heart will always guide her into doing the right thing. Just the way it was with me too. Whenever I was doing that when I was growing up, and I still have a long way to go. My daughter's 20 and I'm 35, and like, yeah, maybe I'm young and she's, I mean, not that far behind me. She's catching up, but still doesn't mean that uh, that I know everything. I can only teach her as I go along. Also, I'm not the wisest person in the world, but uh, I do teach her to stand up for herself and to always be an individual. Never follow sheep. Don't be like everybody else. If you see that 90% of the world is uh, doing this one fad, uh, doesn't necessarily mean you have to do it. Be your own self. Here we have Houston, Texas. What's up? How you doing, man? Everything good? Still down there? So, yeah, always be an individual. Stay true to your convictions. Be true to yourself. Don't follow fads. That's just you're just being a sheep if you do. It's good to hear Houston, Texas. I'm glad. Uh, I'm from Dallas. So if one city suffers, the whole state suffers. Texans always take care of their own. So I'm really glad that you guys are pulling out. You guys are doing good. The only thing that still I couldn't understand was Joel Osteen couldn't even open those damn doors for you guys. That really, I mean, the man's got an arena, but what the owner of the furniture store, he can open up his doors for you guys, and nobody asked him to. He did it out of his God, kindness of his own heart. And that's a man that will be remembered, for his good deeds. And this church guy, uh, like he said in his interview, the city didn't ask him to open up his doors. I mean, you don't have to wait for the city to open up your doors, man. If you really care about the people in your city, and and the people that live with you there, you're gonna take care of them. Yeah, but I'm really glad that you guys are doing good. That one guy, Chad. Hey, man, what's going on? Thank you for joining. So, how you guys doing out there? You guys doing good? I've been in Houston uh, maybe like 3, 4 years ago. Yeah, it's been a while. So, you guys can continue to ask questions. I'm just gonna go ahead and because keep saying whatever I was saying. You guys can stick around. That's fine. So, like I was saying, don't be sheeps. Don't follow what everybody else is doing. It's true what the parents always say. If somebody jumps off the bridge, if your friends jump off the bridge, are you going to do it too? We always have those friends that we don't want to disappoint, but you know, the parents were always right. You know, be yourself. You don't have to do what everybody else does. You don't have to continue following the fad and and what everybody else is dressing as or how everybody else is talking, like lit fam and all that crap, man. Like somebody talked to me like that, I get confused. The hell is lit and fam and fleek and Jesus Christ? I mean, it sounds like people just make up words and say them so many repeated times that they eventually become the new way of talking. What happened with just talking normal? What happened with just being yourself and having talking with an accent? I don't think I have an accent, but Jesus Christ, I go to other states to go visit, and everybody's like, "Oh man, I love your accent," and obviously I can't hear myself, and they can hear it. And I'm like, "Oh sure, thanks." But what's wrong with just speaking with uh, normally? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Why invent new words that mean you know that means something different? Like I was talking to my friend Jessica the other day, and I was like, "What the hell does the word fleek even mean?" And she was like, "Oh, it means good, perfect." I was like, "Okay, so why don't you just use the word good or perfect or nice or what's wrong with those words?" And she was like, "Well, apparently they're boring." It's like, they don't sound boring to me. Why say fleek? That sounds confusing. I mean, you don't. Why does everybody always have to make everything so goddamn confusing? So goddamn, uh, so hard. I mean, that makes no sense to me. Fleek, lit, fam. To me, lit is something you're lighting up. You're gonna light up a candle or a fire. Fam. Okay, you're just taking out the other four letters of family. Jesus Christ. So what? You're gonna take out the other two syllables and just leave the first one. Okay, makes no sense. So what's up, you guys? Come on. What do you guys want to talk about? You want to ask questions, have a little conversation? I mean, that's what I'm here for. Yeah, man, that's how it is nowadays. It makes no sense. Uh, you know, I believe it was. Uh, I'm trying to remember his name, but I can't remember at the moment. Uh, it was a writer that said, when it comes to uh, fads, uh, go with the river. But when it comes to convictions, stand like a rock. Uh, I don't personally believe in that. Uh, Me, I'm 35. Just turned 35 uh, 2 months ago. Yeah, I know. Look, I probably look a lot older than that, because of the whole facial hair and everything. Uh, I just I like to have my my beard grow because uh, apparently my I'm the only guy, or besides me and my dad's brother, me and my uncle were the only ones that can actually grow a full a full beard. Everybody else, has patches here and there. Uh, no, wait, what are we at? September? Yeah, we're in September now. No, my birthday's in June. Sorry, so it was three months ago. Time goes by so fast. One guy, Chad. What is that, man? Some food? What is that? A meatball sandwich? So yeah, uh, yeah, man. It goes by fast. This month, 22nd, will be what at 3:10, 3:15 on the 22nd of this month will be exactly 1 year when my mom passed away. So yeah, I mean, time flies by real quick. I mean, I literally remember like if it was yesterday, still being with my mom, the day she died, and holding her hand. But it's something you never get over. Every now and then, here in my house, I'll think that, it might be her. I'm not sure, but sometimes I think I see her, the reflections of my mirrors. Like the other day, I was at my desk, and I was typing up my book, and I could have swore that whenever I was shutting down my computer, I saw her reflection on my screen after it went black, and I happened to turn around and look, and she wasn't there, but I swear that she was right there. But like I said, time flies. It's not really scary. I don't think it's scary. Uh, I've seen a lot of stuff, I don't think seeing my mom on my laptop's screen on the reflection, I don't think that's scary. Yeah, most likely that's probably what she's doing. What funny? It's real funny that you say that, Houston, Texas, because uh, out of the five of us, because it's me and my four sisters. Uh, hey, baby bird dancer, thank you for joining. But out of me and my four sisters, my mom is the only one that actually shows up in my dreams. So because even my sisters tell me that they never dream about her. So it kind of makes me wonder what things they did to her in order for my mom not to check up on them. So yeah. Um, so what's up, you guys? Come on, baby bird dancer. You got any questions? Me, I am a driver and I am a chef. That's what I do for a living. I drive for uh, a warehouse company that delivers flowers to flower shops. So I'm the guy that's behind the flowers that that the flower shops take the flowers to people that need to apologize when they do something bad to their women. So that would be me. I make sure the flowers get there before they even get sent out. And you'd be surprised, working in a flower warehouse, man. I've seen so many flowers. To me, I thought it was just, like sunflowers and roses and daisies and tulips. I only knew four kinds of flowers. Once I started working in this warehouse like 5 years ago, like man, there were so many flowers. I seen this one flower, dude. Like I kid you not, it was like this huge. It looked like it looked like a football. Tall are you? 5'9". So I'm about average height. So it's an optical illusion. It's the screen camera, but no, I'm average, 5'9". 6'5". 6'5" was my youngest cousin. Shit, he had to literally had to duck when he walked in doorways, and he had to duck because of the damn ceiling fans would always they would be so close to like hitting his head, so he'd be like about right here, really close to hitting him. Favorite holiday? My favorite holiday comes up next month. Halloween, forever and always be my holiday. And it's not because of the movie The Nightmare Before Christmas. You know, I like that movie, but no. My mom was a horror movie fanatic, so to me, it's always it's holiday movies to me are always going to be all the Halloween movies, except for Halloween 3. That had nothing to do with Michael Myers. What do you usually do on Halloween? I take my daughters trick or treating. They're old, but I still treat them like kids, and I force them to dress up, and I force them to go trick or treating. And uh, I usually take them to rich people's houses, and they go trick or treating there. And rich people have the greatest candy ever, man. I mean, like they like literally go for name brands. You know, it's so it's they either get good candy or they get cash. And I'm being serious. Like I think like 2 years ago, I took them over here in Dallas, like to I can't remember where it was. I think it was like Trophy Club or somewhere around there. Went trick or treating for like 2 hours. Came back with like 2 bags of full candy, and like they don't even just give you like one or two pieces. I mean, like they will literally give you a whole bag of like Reese's peanut butter cups. And like if they run out of candy, uh, and if they run out of candy, you know they'll drop off, 5-10 bucks in there. So yeah, they were pretty happy about getting some cash while while they go trick or treating. Chad one guy, yeah, I love horror movies too. I have the whole Saw the whole Saw collection also. I was always told people the stuff in the candy as a kid. Yeah, they usually do, but that was back then. Now, not anymore. Not like now. Two kids? No, I have three. Actually, yeah, I have three. Uh, but before three, I had six. Uh, one of them turned out not to be mine, and my youngest twin daughters passed away in a car accident in 2010. Chat one guy, yeah. Hey man, I was busy. I mean, I was busy when I was young. Yeah, I was sorry to hear that too about my son. Uh, and it was a funny story too because the girl was pregnant at 18 when we broke up. She left. She ran off, and then I saw her like 7 years later, and then I told her that I wanted to be in my kid's life, and I told her I was going to put myself on child support. So the judge said that they were gonna run DNA tests because we're both in the military. So I mean, you have to get DNA tests, or else you're gonna pay child support for a kid that isn't yours. And it turns out it wasn't mine. And my twin daughters, yeah, that was rough. That was really really rough. My ex fiance, I kept telling her to break up with her friend. She loved to go clubbing. She loved to go drinking and partying until like 5, 6 in the morning. And I came over here to Dallas to come visit my mom for her birthday. And then my ex fiance told me she was going to go pick up her friend at the club, and I told her, I said, "Oh, who's going to take care of the kids?" And she was like, "Well, I'm going to take them with me." I was like, "You know what? You need to stop doing that. There's taxis out there. Tell her ass to go take a fucking taxi." But she didn't want to because she said she claimed that was her best friend. So she went across the border to go pick up her friend from the club, and I think the clubs over there closed like at 3 or 4. And she went to go pick her up, and she was all drunk and smashed and whatnot. And then when they were coming back to the states, just crossing the border, this fucking truck T-boned her, and the truck, the guy got away. So in Mexico they don't give a shit. You know, they don't do their job. The cops over there. So yeah, when everybody went to the hospital, my ex, she made it, but my girls, they didn't make it. They were still young. When you're so young, you're so fragile. So yeah, Houston, Texas. Hey man, thanks for becoming a fan. I'm here uh, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Tuesdays, I read a chapter from my book. Wednesdays, I talk about ghosts and supernatural stuff, and Thursdays, I talk about conspiracies. But if I feel like if it's kind of slow, then I'll switch it up, and anything goes after that. Uh, and don't be sad, man. I mean, I'm not. It was sad in the beginning, but eventually you got to move on. Life goes on. Time does not stand still for anybody. You have to keep going. Uh, Shit, man, go get something to eat, man. I mean, I'm not gonna knock you for if you leave and you go get something to eat. I mean, I just I got out of work a couple hours ago, and man, I took me a cold shower, shaved my head, went straight to sleep, and I just woke up like an hour and a half ago. You know, I didn't even get to eat dinner, so I just like made like cut up like 3 or 4 weenies and put like 4 eggs and made some flour tortillas and shit. I just cooked that shit up. You know, what can I cook? I can cook anything. And usually I do it for my girls because they're the ones that are always, asking for everything. So instead of going to restaurants, they're always looking up, for foods on the internet. They'll say like, "Oh, Dad, make me some chicken fried rice or some shrimp fried rice or uh, make me some uh, maybe lasagna and whatnot." Uh, so I mostly do it for them. I would like to open up a restaurant, so hopefully maybe next year or the year after I can open up a restaurant, and I'll name it after my mom. Call it Patty's Kitchen. That would be nice. I still have all of my mom's recipes, so it would be authentic, 100% Mexican food. Not like these other restaurants that say like, "Oh, authentic Mexican food," and it turns out to be Tex-Mex. Nah, real Mexican food. Bro, Whataburger. It's Texas, baby. You already know who doesn't like Whataburger or Dairy Queen. You know, yeah, man, Taco Bell's pretty good too. Taco Bell, that Dorito taco, that shit's pretty good. The cheesy one, not the blue one. The Wild Ranch regular. That shit is good. You're gonna laugh when I tell you this. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Uh, I usually get that triple meat burger. Like, bro, I be hungry and I devour it. I get a stomach ache, but shit, I'll devour that triple meat. I always get the 12 pack of tacos. I always do that too whenever I'm on the road. Whenever I gotta deliver out of town, I'll get them 12 pack of tacos. I'll get six regular, uh, six uh, crunchy supreme, and six soft taco supreme. Yeah, I'll get a double meat on a regular day. If I'm a little hungry, like if I'm not, if I just have to eat because I don't want to make any sauce while I'm driving, uh, I'll get just a regular number one. No onions, extra tomatoes, extra pickles, mustard. Make it a water size. Put my fries in the cup holder. Shit, that's it. All right, guys, it's already 10. I'm gonna go ahead and shut down. Uh, I gotta wake up at 4 in the morning and be at work at 5. So I'll be here tomorrow. Tomorrow, between 7 and 8. Tomorrow, talk about paranormal, ghosts, things like that. You got stories? Share them. If you don't, or you want to know about something, ask. Like last week, I had some girl ask about a Wendigo, and got the wrong kind of stromboli from Walmart. You probably got a different brand. You stay away from the Great Value when it comes to frozen foods, man. Yeah, you gotta stay away from those. Everything else, Great Value is good for it, but when it comes to frozen foods, stay away from it. But tomorrow, ghost, paranormal. Like I said last week, some girl asked me about a Wendigo, and she was surprised that I even knew what it was. But if you're wondering what it is, a Wendigo is a monster that lives in the woods that used to be a protector for the Native Americans, and it makes uh, traps, um, and and it ends up taking hikers. So that's why a lot of hikers go missing. It's not because of I mean, you never know. It could be the Wendigo. It could be homicidal maniacs. It should be lit. It should be lit tomorrow. Usually when on Ghost Paranormal Days, I usually have about 15 viewers. You know, it's kind of slow when it comes to reading my books or it comes about conspiracies. It's kind of a slow day. But when I talked about ghosts and paranormal on like tomorrow on Wednesday, man, like I'll have like 15 viewers, which is good enough for me. She even 3 viewers, I mean that's fine. Uh, JBSC 28, thank you for joining. Uh, there are lots of crazy people in the world. Yeah, so you never know what's really out there. But yeah, man, tomorrow, tomorrow I'll start with uh, start talking about gnomes. Because for some reason, I'm Mexican, man. So for some reason, Mexico seems to be like Grand Central, for all the paranormal stuff. Hey, JBSC 28. Uh, how you doing? Thanks for joining. So yeah, man, Mexico seems to be like number one Grand Central Station when it comes to paranormal stuff. I've seen it. I've seen it, and I've seen a lot of it. Hola, hola, or Brasil. Um, Va a Estados Unidos. So yeah, man. Uh, uh, we'll go ahead and we'll shut down today, and then we'll go ahead and pick it up tomorrow. I will. I'll become fans of you guys. That way, so we can go ahead and keep in touch. If there's any, if there's any channels out there, if there's any good channels, you guys, share them. Let me know. See, like earlier, I was looking at this one chick. Uh, what's her name? Ala Nali, the Missing Notebook Rhymes. Hey man, what's going on? Thanks for joining. Uh, but for some reason, some of these girls, man, like uh, I don't know if they have uh, a self-esteem issue and whatnot. So what they always do is dress up in skimpy shorts and cleavage and whatnot. Try to get likes and views and try to be like the number one. And so I'm really glad that I've taught my daughters better than that. So they don't have to. Uh, they don't dress like that. To get attention. Yeah, man, it's too many kids on here. Uh, so like I said, like I told my oldest, she's in college. Don't be like all these other girls, trying to show off your body and and everything. Because my daughter, she's a short little thing. She's only like 5 foot, and she only weighs like 110 pounds. But since she was little, I but since she was little, uh, I taught her how to fight, how to throw knives, uh, and pepper spray and whatnot. Broccoli stromboli. Why would you buy a broccoli stromboli, man? I mean that no. Billy West 87 511. How you doing? Thank you for joining. Uh, KBSC 28. No entiendo. No soy brasileño. Puro inglés o español. Billy West 87. Are you gonna play Knack 2 though? What is Knack 2? I didn't even look at it. I just grabbed it. Dude, you gotta look before you grab anything. As the saying goes, look before you leap. And look what you got now. Que time você não torce? Uh, uh, hold on. Let me do some of this translating because apparently I don't understand what's. Brazilian to English. Answer text. Which team? Which team do not use twist? What? Sí, español. Salva España. ¿Qué tiene España? Uh, uh, that's a good thing. Yes, I teach them defense. And like I said, she can throw knives. And she can fucking throw knives better than I can. Uh, it's the number one game of the century. If it was the number one game of the century, I'd know about it. You know, since I don't know about it, apparently it's not. I know I gotta be sure to look next time. Bro, I mean, seriously, it's like my homegirl, you know, and my homegirl Jessica, and she's a vegan. You know, this is Texas, and she lives here in Texas, and I tell her, whenever I cook fajitas or, some meat or burgers, uh, my mouth gets watery. So, like, with you vegans, like, whenever somebody mows a lawn or a yard and you smell you smell fresh cut grass, does that make your mouth water too, or what? And, well, she would just get mad at me. Manda un sabe que, porque sí. Jave, no entiendo, no entiendo, no entiendo portugués. Manda un salve. I don't know what that means. I'm trying to use this translate thing. I don't know what the hell he's trying to say. Send us out of the programs and I don't understand Portuguese. Remake. What remake? But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and shut down because, like I said, I gotta wake up at 4 and be at work at 5. Uh, the new It movie comes out. Oh yes, I forgot about that. Oh man, yes, but still, man. I mean, I think the original was way better. I mean, let's be honest here. Um, I mean, let's really be honest about the It movie. If you've seen uh, if you've seen the original, excuse me. If you saw the original, man, like Tim Curry, like he ruined it for clowns for me, man. Uh, so I'm hoping that that this new guy, uh, Bill Skarsgård, said, I don't even know who the hell this guy is, but this guy Bill Skarsgård, whatever the hell his name is, I don't. Uh, hope I hope you don't ruin it. But like I said, Tim Curry, man, Tim Curry is like hands down, one of the most scariest dudes when it came to it. Izzy or T17, thank you for joining. So yeah, I still don't know what that means. Uh, so I'm gonna go ahead and shut down for the last time. Uh, I'll be back tomorrow between 7 and 8. Uh, just gonna go ahead and hit the sack, and then see you guys tomorrow. You guys stay safe. Be careful out there. Thank you for joining. Tomorrow, like I said, ghosts, paranormal stuff, crazy stuff like that. Let's see what we get. So, once again, be safe, be careful. Y'all, have a good night.